G'day, how's it going? It's Simon from iJump. Hey, about a month ago, I was at the Cross Media Lab in Auckland, where creative entrepreneurs and media professionals and venture capitalists from around the world came right here to Auckland and talked to some of New Zealand's most exciting startups. One of those people was Parmesh Shahani, and I got to speak to him about social media in India, which is a really exciting developing market. So if you've been watching iJumpTV, we often focus on New Zealand, but now we get a little bit more international in our flavour. So here's Parmesh. What's the social media scene like in India?
People and the internet users now, and that might be big, say, by New Zealand standards, but within India, actually, the internet hasn't really taken off to the extent that, say, cell phones have, because there's close to 400 million cell phone users now. Except that what people do with cell phones in India is different from what they do, in other parts of the world.
Right.
But within the internet space as well, social media, there's a whole range of, say, Indian websites. But the popular ones continue to be Facebook and Orkut.
Mm-hmm.
India is one of the few countries in the world where Orkut actually beats Facebook,
right, yeah,
in terms of its popularity. But it's a very class-based thing, actually. So in cities like, say, Bombay and Delhi and Bangalore, maybe amongst college students or people who are maybe more cosmopolitan or think of themselves as more international, they would be on Facebook. But the vast majority of people, say, either those who are in school or those who might be in smaller cities all over the country, would be on Orkut. So it's a class-based division. It's also a region-based division, I think. There are also, niche-based networks.
Mm-hmm.
So there are specific communities that are, based on interest, whether it's MBA students who connect together, and there's websites like pagalguy.com, which are spaces for these people to connect, or people who connect around marriage. It's a very rich and very diverse and very complex space, and I think the internet is just about coming of age now. So it'll be fun to see how things develop from now on. Because I think 50 million is a good number to actually now start getting some traction.
Yeah, for sure. And what sort of engagement are businesses doing in social media, if any?
Well, no one's making money. I mean, like in the rest of the world,
right?
People are experimenting, but I don't. It's not a space that has captured, say, the Indian business imagination in a way that in India that it's captured, say, in other parts of the world, including here.
Sure.
There are so many other opportunities in businesses, whether it's in offline businesses or even within online, whether in things like transactions or whether it's travel or whether it's booking tickets or whether it's doing other kinds of service-based things.
Sure.
So there's a whole range of things that are being explored, and so social networking is just a very small
just one of those things.
Yeah.
How about businesses using social media to promote themselves?
Businesses are doing that a lot. In fact, artists, like in other parts of the world, Indian musicians, Indian filmmakers, the art community are discovering spaces like MySpace or Facebook,
right,
and using it sometimes quite well in promoting themselves and events and things that they're interested in. Certainly, identity-based groups are also using these very efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's queer groups, whether it's political parties. We just had an election in India, and it was India's most tech-savvy election in terms of technologies as well as in terms of really tapping into the internet and galvanizing communities of interest.
You're managing editor of a magazine, and the impression that I've got is that while ad-supported models seem to be dying in the West, in the sort of emerging economies, it's sort of just coming of age. Is that a true impression?
Well, print media continues to grow in India, and it continues to grow at quite a healthy pace.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, India is still is in the midst of a very, very long-term economic boom, and this recession of the past year and the economic crisis is a blip on what will almost certainly be like a long march ahead for India in terms of its economic growth.
Right.
So advertising is growing. As consumption is growing. The magazine that I help edit is called Verve, and it's been around for about 13 years as India's leading fashion and lifestyle magazine. And we continue to see a tremendous growth in advertising, in readership. Ours caters to the top end. It's of the luxury market,
Right.
and that's a space which as the Indian economy grows, as there are more and more people who want to enjoy the good life, there are brands that want to cater to it, and these could be homegrown Indian brands, or these could be international brands who are pouring into India at this point.
Yeah.
So it's a good space to be in.
Great stuff. Thank you very much for being on the show.
You're welcome.